All right, well, hey folks, it's Coach Aldrin from Just Work Fitness, and I'm here in my garage where I have my workout stuff as well as some other things like my motorcycle, and I'm going to talk to you about a psychological concept called loss aversion that might just be what you're looking for to help you continue on your fitness journey. All right. So, loss aversion, maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but here's something about it. So it was introduced in the late 1970s by two psychologists, Kahneman and Amos Tversky, and they wrote a paper on something called prospect theory. But not to get into the details of the paper, basically what loss aversion talks about is that human behavior is more strongly influenced by the sense that we are going to lose something as opposed to gaining something of equivalence. So how does that relate to the fitness journey that you might be on? So you've decided, obviously, if you're watching this video, you've decided to make a change in your behavior. You've maybe decided to start working out regularly or, dialing in your nutrition. And one of the reasons that this might be challenging and more difficult is because you have to think about how you think about that journey that you're on. Because if you consider it to be a negative experience, for example, going on an extreme caloric restriction or even eliminating food groups from your diet, which you're not accustomed to, then that is going to be seen as a negative experience for you. Or when you're sitting on the couch and you had said that you wanted to go out for a walk or you wanted to go to the gym or to that fitness class, if that is perceived as a negative experience, then you want to be averse to that. Why would you trade something that is something that is positive for something that is negative? So that is the concept of loss aversion, being averse to that. So what I would like to present to you, though, is how you can use loss aversion to actually continue to keep you on the path that you've wanted to stay on. And I do want to start off by saying, first and foremost, you have made a decision to take control and do something about your situation. That is number one. And so you've decided that you want to get into a certain fitness regimen or you want to dial in your nutrition. That has to be fundamental. But now when you get to the day-to-day, so you're sitting on the couch and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I have to go work out because today's that class that I said I would attend, but it feels really comfortable. You're sitting on the couch, maybe you're a little bit tired, and you're thinking, I don't want to give up something that's pleasurable right now to go experience something that I perceive as being negative. However, if you think about it in different ways, what you want to be thinking about, one, which would be ideal, the feeling that you would have when your future self is feeling better about their health and their fitness. You're able to do things, you're able to move, you're able to lift, you're able to, generally your quality of your life, because you've been investing in a regular fitness regimen, is better. So you would think that you would want that to happen. And so you will allow yourself to engage in this behavior now so that your future self will be able to be active and do the things that you want to do. However, it seems that the time frame is too long. You don't want to necessarily put in the investment today for the future gains. Or said another way, you want to have health in the future, so therefore you are averse to not having health. Nobody wants to age and not be able to function in daily life and do things. However, that seems to be too far into the future. So let's get back to how you can use loss aversion right now. So I really want the opportunity to ride my motorcycle. I own this motorcycle, it's mine. I don't want to lose the opportunity to ride the motorcycle. So I would be averse to not being able to ride the motorcycle on a good day. is that this is very individualized. And if this strategy is to work for you, you have to think about what it is that you don't necessarily want to give up, okay? So for me, it's the opportunity to ride my motorcycle in the good weather. So I have been on a fitness journey, much like probably many of you have, of doing regular workouts, tracking my calories because I want to be in a slight caloric deficit, and over time, that is going to hopefully yield the results that I'm looking for. And I say hopefully because results are not guaranteed. So I'm not in charge of the results. I am, however, in charge of the behaviors that I can engage in on a daily basis. So for me, it's about process. If I stick to the routine and if I track my calories as closely as I can on a daily basis, then that allows me to then have the opportunity to ride my motorcycle. So that's how I've used loss aversion in order to keep me on track. If I don't, however, stick to my workouts, now, barring no illnesses, I mean that as long as I'm healthy and I'm able to work out and I'm not injured, not being ridiculous with myself, but I've allowed myself to stick to the workouts, I've tracked the calories, and then I know that I've done everything that I could possibly do to try and get me the results I'm looking for. At that point, then I allow myself to ride my motorcycle in that week. If, however, I don't necessarily stick to the plan that I set up for myself, then I basically have lost the opportunity to ride the motorcycle. Now, that might seem like a somewhat harsh strategy, but it's not necessarily a harsh strategy because really what it is it's just making the goal more immediate. It's making the consequence more immediate. I'm investing in my health ultimately so that I can have many more years on this planet and be healthy and move my body and do all these wonderful things that I want to do. I'm currently 55 and I want to be moving and active at 65, 75, 85 for as long as I possibly can. So you similarly are looking towards a certain goal that you have established for yourself. And this is really getting down to a strategy that might help you when you're thinking about maybe giving up. You haven't seen the results that you're looking for. Perhaps you haven't seen the strength gains. Perhaps you haven't seen the changes in flexibility. Perhaps you haven't seen the weight loss that you're looking for. However, you need to just park that for a moment because the results are not necessarily going to come because of your good behaviors. We would like to think they would. You need to think about it more in terms of what's the likelihood that you will reach your goal if you stick to these behaviors? Well, the likelihood is pretty high that you're going to reach the goals that you set out for yourself as long as you stick to certain behaviors. It's never guaranteed. So I want you to think about it. So that in essence is the concept of loss aversion. So really, we tend to behave in ways that prevent us from losing certain opportunities as opposed to behaving in ways that will gain us certain things, right? So you can use that. It's not a negative mindset. It's actually thinking about how to perceive our losses and our gains in this way. So give that a try. Individualize it to your circumstances and think about how you can use it to help get you past that point where you do feel like you've hit maybe a plateau and part of you is thinking maybe I should change the plan, maybe I should, give up on this and whatnot. Just be patient with yourself. I appreciate you listening, and if you have any questions or comments, please put it below. And if you're looking for a way to start a fitness journey, I do have some follow-along videos on YouTube that I've posted, and I'm going to link the bodyweight ones just above. And there's a series of them. The first few are bodyweight only, and then there's ones with dumbbells and bodyweight combined. So if you're looking for individualized coaching or you want some advice, my email is in the description below. Once again, my goal here is to try to help folks along their fitness journey, and especially focusing on folks in their 50s, 60s, and 70s where maybe their fitness has slid a little bit because of other life expectations. Work got busy, family got busy, and you just didn't have the time. And if you're looking to get back into it, send me a quick message and let's at least chat, all right? And with that, as always, be awesome.